Welcome back to Further Solutions Academy. On this video, I'll be walking you on special derivative, which is there are some functions that are special. Don't forget you are home with Further Solutions Academy. Share, subscribe, and make sure you leave a comment for moderation purpose. Just in case, you can comment below, or you make use of this line +2 3 4 8 0 3 4 4 9 5 9 9 0. With this line, you can call us, you can WhatsApp us, and also Telegram is allowed. On this video, I'll be walking you on a special derivative. Now, before I move on, let me try to show some special derivative which are very common. Let me call this place function and functions. This one is derivative, which is also known as dy dx. You can also call it dy dx. Please take note of this. Also known as gradient, anyhow you call it. Now, let me move on to from function. Okay, I can have what is called ln x, or also called log exponential of x. It means the base will be e. We know what is called logarithm function. That is a logarithm function. Now, if I'm differentiating this, it will be 1 all over x. Now, okay, the next one, if I have my y, equals to, which is my function, it can also be called f of x, anyhow you call it. Please take note of those things. They are not, you have to understand those things very well. Now, let me talk about exponential function. Now, it means it will be e of x. For instance, if the function is e for x, it means it will be e for ex. That is what you just need to know about that. That's what is called exponential function. It's a function and this is the derivative. The function and the derivative. Now, the next thing I want you to understand is if I have trig function of sine, if I should differentiate sine, it will give me cos of what? X. If I differentiate cos, it will give me minus sine x. And if I differentiate tan, it will give me sec squared x. Now my cot will be equals to minus cosec squared x, and sec x will be equals to sec will be equals to tan sec x tan x. And lastly, if I have cosec x, it will give me cosec x cot x minus. Now, when I was at the beginning part, now anytime you are differentiating anyone that starts with c, which is cos, cot, cosec, it will start with minus, minus, minus. Now, at the point of sine and cos, they are reversal of each other, which this and this, but this one is attribute of minus, and tan is what? Sec squared. Cosec is minus sec cosec squared. Cot and is minus cosec squared, and so on and so forth. Now, this is very, very simple. Please take note of this very well, because we'll be using this to work as far as this video is concerned. Now, look at some function. For instance, somebody asks you a simple problem, like you are asked to provide solution to. It can be any form, maybe positively, whatever. Now, a question is given to you to solve. For instance, the derivative of cosec x now is, just know that the rest of this thing is what? Is minus, which is dy, equals to cosec x dy. The x is also known as derivative. It will be equals to minus cot x cosec x. That is all. That's all. Now, let me try to explain what is called function of function. After, I'll move on to product rule, and after, I'll move on to chain rule. Now, the function of function, let me call it function of function. Function of function, which is also known as chain rule of special function. Now, function of function of special function. For instance, let me start from here. Y equals to sine square x. Find the y, the x. Another one I have y equals to cos 3x squared minus 2x. Find the y, the x. We are finding the y, the x. And okay, now let me first deal with these two. If I'm to solve this particular problem, I'm finding the y, the x of each of them. Now, what I need to do here is that take note of this very well. Now, there are easiest way, but let me first explain the best way of doing it. Normally, we call it function of function, which we have the y, the x will be equals to the y, the u multiplied by the u, the x. Now, if our u, don't forget y equals to sine square x, it can also be written as sine x or bracket of squared, anyhow you want to do it. Now, it means I can say that let u equals to sine and y will be equals to u squared. The y, I mean the u, the x will be equals to cos x, and the y, the u will be equals to 2u. Now, it means with what I've stated here, it will be dy, the x will be equals to, what's my du dx? The u dx is cos x multiplied by 2u. What is my u? It means my answer become 2. What is my u? My u is, this is my u, which is half sine x and what? Cos x. That is my final answer. But this is a very nice way, but in a very simple way of solving it. Okay, let me solve the second one. Dy, the x will be equals to du all over dx multiplied by dy all over du. Now, my u will be equals to 3x squared minus 2x. Du all over dx will be equals to 6x minus 2. Now, my y equals to cos u. Dy du equals to minus sine u. Now, it means dy, the x, will be equals to du all over dx multiplied by dy all over du, which also implies 6x minus 2 minus sine, what is my u? This is my u, sine u, okay, which is half minus 6x minus 2 bracket of sine, what is my u? My u become 3x squared minus 2x. That is my final answer. That is my final answer. Now, but with what I've explained here, there are simple way of solving it. How do I solve it in a simple manner? When exam is given and is objective, how do I solve? How do I go? Now, see, this what I want you to be doing when you are solving it in any given exam. If I were you, dy, the x will be equals to, now drop down the power. I have to return differentiate inside. I mean return the inside. I have a differentiate inside, which I will have when I differentiate cos, I will have, okay, what am I saying? Okay, now differentiate this, I will have minus, what am I saying here? Okay, if I have the y dx, of course, if I differentiate sine, it will be okay, if I differentiate sine, I'll be having cos x. Now, what I drop down the power, I return this and differentiate it, which I have that. For instance, okay, sorry, for better illustration, there is a mistake I made then when I was differentiating. If that is a silly mistake, take note of that. If y equals to sine 3x or cos 3x, the same way, bring down the power, return this function, and minus 1 from it, which is 3 minus 1 of x, and differentiate this, I have sine. If I differentiate this, it will be minus sine bracket of x. My final answer will be 3 cos square x sine x. That is my final answer. Please take note of those things. What did I do? I drop down the power, I minus 1 from the power, which I return it, and I differentiate inside, which I have this. That is all about it. Now, if I want to do this, differentiate inside 3, which is 3 times 6, I have 6x minus 2. Return, differentiate outside, I will have minus sine and 3x squared minus 2. That is all. That is all. Okay, let me try to show another one for better clarification. I made a silly mistake there, but please take note of that. It's not minus. It's not minus. I'm not talking about cos. Now look at this problem. It's a very simple one. Now, problem 1, problem 2. You are asked to find the y, the x of each. What I need to do here is that I want to use what I just explained to you. The y, the x will be equals to. Now, drop down the power. Minus 1 from the power, from the function, 2 minus 1, which is first step. Now, differentiate inside. If I differentiate my cos, I will have, sine, I will have cos. Cos, return here, which is going to be what? 4x plus 10. My answer becomes 4. This is going to be 4. Now, it means my answer become 4 times this, it will be 8. Yes, 3, this is 3, sorry. 3, which I'll be having 12 cos 4x minus 10 plus 10 and sine 4x plus 10. That is my final answer. Don't forget, drop down the power, minus 1 from the power, which I've done that. Differentiate inside. I will first differentiate this, I will have 4. I will differentiate this also, I will have cos, which is my final answer. Now look at this. The y, the x will be equals to. Now, what I need to do, I can say that what, just for better understanding, let y equals to log e of u, but u equals to tan 2x. Now, the y, the x of this, it will be equals to the y the u, sorry, the y the u will be 1 all over u. Y the u, the x will be equals to, differentiate inside, which I have to, differentiate outside, which I have set squared, 2u, 2x. That is all. It means my answer become the y, the x will be equals to 1 all over u multiplied by 2 sec squared 2x. 2 sec squared 2x. Now, it means what is my u? My u become, it means I can say 2 sec squared 2x divided by, what is my u? My u is tan 2x. Now, I can now do a lot of things if I feel like. Don't forget my sec. 2, 1 all over cos square 2x divided by, tan become sine 2x divided by cos 2x, which implies 2 all over cos 2x multiplied by cos 2x divided by sine 2x. Now, by the final answer, which should be, this is squared, which this will cancel this, and my answer become 1 all over cos 2x dot 1 all over sine 2x, which also implies 1 over cos is, we call it sec x, and what? Cosec 2x. That is my final answer. That is my final answer. Now you can see how it's being done, which you need to understand that. Now what you need to know is that okay, that is how it always be. Now let me try to show another one before, because these are very common. Once you understand this part very well, don't forget, you drop down the power, you differentiate inside, and you move on. You know, that's all what you need to do. Now, for instance, I have this question: y equals to log 1 over x, find dy dx. And okay, for those y equals to cos x all over 3, I have this. Now, since I have this, and I'm asked to find the y, the x. Once I am asked to find the y, the x of this thing, how do I go? Look at this. It's very simple. This is log function. This is a trig function. Now, let y equals to ln exponential u. My u equals to 1 over x. Dy dx equals to what? 1 over u. And if I should differentiate this, du dx, it will be equals to minus 1 over x squared. Please take note of that. Now, if I'm to move on, it means dy dx, with what I've explained earlier, 1 over u multiplied by minus 1 over x squared. Now, what is my u? My u is 1 divide 1 over x multiplied by minus 1 over x squared. Oh, sorry, my student, one of my boys is shouting. Okay, now, once I have this, it means I'll be having x multiplied by 1, s multiplied by 1, which is multiplied by minus 1 over x squared. Now, this here, we cancel this. It means my answer become 1 over x. That is my final answer. The same way, you can drop down the power. See, I will differentiate this, which I will have. Now, if you have three logarithmic functions, it's good to illustrate that it's to avoid silly mistake. Now, look at this. I have this place, you have no problem with it because it's a constant value, it has no s. If there is s there, that becomes a product. But since there is no s, you have no problem with that 3. It means let u equals to what? 3 cos u. And u equals to x all over 3. Which I have dy, the x will be equals to what? Minus 3 sine u. And the u, the x will be equals to 1 all over 3. Can you see? Now, since I have that, I can answer that what? Dy dx will be equals to minus 1 all over 3 multiplied by 3 sine, what is my u? My u become x all over 3. This will cancel this. My answer becomes minus sine x all over 3. Please take note of this. They are very common as far as objective problem is concerned. Now, let me quickly explain products of a function and the other one of it, which is a quotient. Now, I will just give out, once you understand this, you can do product and quotient very well. Now, let me call this place product. Let me call this place product. Row or product rows. And let me call this place quotient. Quotient row. Don't forget, become a product row because y equals to, it means f of x equals to u of x with v of x. Please take note of that. And this also become, when my f of x become u of x divided by v of x. They are both function of x. Please take note of that. Now, when you have it in this form, that become a product and quotient. Now, how do I solve this problem? For instance, if I have something like this, according to the video I explained, which is that our 1 hour video on differential calculus, introduction part, go and watch it. You understand quotient robot. But the u, the x will be equals to u the v, the x plus v the u the x. Now, which the y, the x will be equals to v the u the x minus u the v the x divided by what? V squared. That is what you need to understand. This is product, this is what? Quotient. Take note of those things very well. Now, let me bring out some problem that will really help us to understand what I'm about to work on. Now, for instance, y equals to sine 2x. Find the y, the x. Problem number 1. Number 2, I have y equals to t squared sine 3t minus 5. Find the y, the t. And last problem is if y equals to sine 3x squared sine square 5x. Find the y, the x. Now, that is for other. Let me move on to the other part, which is I can see that if y equals to x all over plus x, find the y, the x. I'm just looking around the problem that will really help us, Now, look at this problem. They are simple one. It can be given to you in objective. I want to show you how to do about it, how to go about it. dy, the x equals to, is an objective problem, not theory. If it is theory, you have to go on this journey. You have to go on this journey. Please, if it is theory, you have to go on this journey. Now, but since it's not objective, it's objective, which is you are multi-choice, you have to. Now, if I were you, I will u, which is my u, I have my x, differentiate this, it will be 2 cos 2x. That is differentiation of this, plus, this time around v, what is my v? I have sine 2x. Differentiate this, I have multiplied by 1, which is bracket of 1. My answer become, which implies, it means dy, sorry, let me write my dy this, dy x. It means dy, the x will be equals to 2x cos 2x plus sine, yes, plus sine 2x. That is my final answer. That is my final answer. Now, that is my final answer. Now, look at this. It means that is all for that one. Look at this one. The same way, dy, the x will be equals to, what is my u? I have t squared. Differentiate this, it will be 3. I differentiate inside, and I will have differentiate outside cos 3t minus 5. plus, differentiate this also, it will be 2t sine 3t 5. That is all. It means the y, the x will be equals to what? 3t squared cos 3t minus 5 plus 2t sine minus 5. That is all. Can you see? Very straightforward. Now, this is what I'm working towards. Now, the last part of it is that the y, the x will be equals to, I assume that I'm doing objective. Now, differentiate, we have your 3x squared, which is your u. Differentiate this. How will I differentiate this? Bring down the power, return and minus 1 from the power, which is x, and differentiate what is inside, which I have 5 cos 5x, which plus, I want to differentiate this, it will be 6x sine 5x. Now, it means my dy, the x will be equals to, we have 6x squared sine x 6x. This times it times this. 6 times 5, 30. Sorry, this times this is 30, which I will have it 30. Now, 30x cos 5x, yes, this is 5 is there. Now, plus, this one will be anything there, which is I have 6x sine 5x. That is all. That's all about that. It means this is your B. It will be your answer. 30 sine squared sine, 30x squared sine 5x cos 5x plus 6x sine 5x. That is all. Now, look at this. It's very, very straightforward. Dy, the x will be equals to, the first thing is v. I will have your v cos x multiplied by 1, which is 1, minus, what is my u? I have x cos, which is minus sine x, which minus will come to this place, become plus. It means my final answer will be equals to cos x plus x sine x. That is all. Now, look at this also. Dy, the x will be equals to, what you want to do here, what's our v? Sine 2x divided by v squared. What is our v? Cos square x. Cos square x divided by cos square x. Cos square x. That is my answer. Sorry, manage the bottom with me. I'm so sorry. I just kind of. Now, different. Okay, what is my v? It will be minus sine x minus. Now, what is my u? Cos x. Differentiate this, it will be 2 cos 2x divided by v squared. What is my v squared? Which is going to be sine squared sine 2x. That is all. It means I can, okay, cos 2, sorry for what happened. I think square. That is all. Or you put it like this, and put it like this squared. That is the final answer. That's my square is very small. Please manage that. Now, dy, the x of the last part will be equals to, now I'm holding on to v, which is 2x. Differentiate this, it will be 3 cos 3x. Let me put my 3 here, sorry. Now, 3 cos 3x. And the next thing is that I want to write my u minus, we have u, which is going to be minus 2e of minus 2x, and differentiate v, which is my sine 2x divided by e raised to power minus 4x. That is my final answer. Which this one naturally become plus, and also 6. That is all. That is all about that. Is it 2 or 3? It's 3, sorry. Now, can you see? Nothing is hard. Nothing is not hard. Can you see by now you should be able to approach or solve problem on special function? Once again, thanks for watching.